Hello, we are the Mad Hatters and we will be discussing the topic of Mexican folk and fairy tales. Before Mexico was referred to as Mexico, it was previously known as the pre-Hispanic era. This era carried out most of its history through telling oral tales and passing its history from generation to generation. There were many civilizations built and raised during this time. However, even before the Europeans arrived, most of these mighty civilizations had fallen due to time, letting only oral tales and archaeological investigations to be the bearer of its past greatness. However, some oral tales still remain, such as La Laminchi, an Aztec oral tale, which is quite similar to present times Mexico's La Llorona, which translates to the weeping woman in English. Both stories are about the ghost of a woman who commits suicide after drowning her two children in a fit of rage due to her unfaithful husband, and now roams the riverbanks in search of her children. Most oral tales at the time of the pre-Hispanic era were more spiritual based or helped explain how they thought of how the world worked. Their tales introduced different types of gods and spirits and showed how the gods and spirits played certain roles in the balance and management of their world. Although this era had already lost most of its past due to time, it lost even more when the Europeans came. Well, to be more specific, when the Spanish invaded and conquered Mesoamerica. When Spain invaded, they brought their religious beliefs with them and hoped to spread Christianity throughout Mesoamerica. They hoped to accomplish this by destroying all accounts of Mesoamerica's past history and culture, and instead introducing their own beliefs through fairy tales that were widespread around Europe at that time, but were rewritten by the Spanish to carry a higher Christian influence. The Spanish left such an imprint on Mesoamerica that even after they left and it became known as Mexico, a majority of more popular fairy and folk tales still carried strong signs of a more Catholic influence. Their oral tales also incorporate proverbs and morals within them. Families would often share sayings and advices with each other. Most of the time, the stories have lessons from older generations and teaches children lessons, such as their roles within the family, social norms, and good conduct. Stories are often told in homes or villages as entertainment to pass time. Unfortunately, not many oral stories exist today. Some examples include Blanca Flor, which is a fairy tale similar to Snow White. Blanca Flor includes an envious queen that tries to have her own daughter, Blanca Flor, murdered due to the queen's magic mirror telling her that her own daughter is more gorgeous than her. But thanks to the servant, Juan, who was assigned to murder Blanca for the queen, let Blanca Flor escape and run away. However, instead of meeting 7 dwarves, Blanca Flor meets a band of robbers who stole from the rich and gave to the poor. Later on, Blanca Flor is put under a sleeping spell after wearing a golden necklace, given to her by her mother, disguised as an old woman. The robbers then placed her sleeping body within a crystal coffin and placed her in a cave. This story includes influences from Roman Catholicism, due to the fact that the prince, after finding her, has her placed into a chapel that he personally built for her. Then sometime later, the sexton, who likes to steal, removes the necklace from Blanca Flor's neck as she awakes and then falls in love with the prince, and they both live happily ever after. Also as a twist, instead of having the cruel mother dance to death in red-hot iron shoes like in Snow White, Blanca Flor's prince builds an army and conquers the evil queen's kingdom, which is a more realistic punishment to the queen than what happens in Snow White. Blanca Flor is a prime example of what Mexican folk tales represent. They are influenced heavily by the religion of Christianity due to the fact that the Spanish brought the religion and looked for ways to spread it. A very effective way was through folk tales, which would be passed down through generations. As a result, a majority of folk tales from Mexico include signs of religion. Religion is either included by name dropping the devil, God, or religious ideas. It is not uncommon to even include all 3. Religion played a big role in Mexican folktales. It is similar to Snow White of the Grimm brothers, and it seems to emphasize religion even more than the Grimms. And as a side note, Blanca Flor is directly translated to White Flower in English. possibly because snow is very scarce in Mexico, and because flowers are fairly popular there as well. The Mexican culture is an interesting one, and the tales that go along with it give a strong interpretation of the culture as a whole.